The Sabotage Google Hangout. We're here with the cast of Sabotage. Now, don't adjust your screen. I'm a normal-sized person. These guys are just gigantic. So don't worry about that. But this is, of course, Sabotage. It's about Sabotage, the movie in which a DEA is picked off one by one. And in honor of that, I'm going to introduce you guys one by one. All right? So we're going to start off with David Ayer. You may know him from Training Day. He wrote Training Day. He also did End of Watch.
End of Watch.
Love that one. Fast and the Furious.
First one.
The first one.
First one.
Anyway, so how you doing today?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me.
So, real quick, tell me about you. You have an obvious style that's like really, flash bang about you. So why don't you tell us what you did for this film?
Absolutely, man. It's just old school hardcore action. I like to throw the cameras around. We got digital cameras these days. 40-minute magazines. So these guys never hear the word cut. They just keep going. But it's there's so much CG and wire work and green screen these days that it's just great to get back to kind of bread and butter filmmaking and do practical stunts in camera. And I think the audience can really appreciate that when they have like good performance but really trained actors doing amazing things on camera.
Yeah, a lot of the people that have come out and have seen it were just like, I did not expect that, because it was like, it's so gritty and raw and stuff like that. It's a great time. Anyway, so we move on to Arnold Schwarzenegger, who plays Breacher. You may know him from every awesome action movie ever made. The Terminator, he's the Governator. Arnold Schwarzenegger. How did you land this role? What brought you to this role?
Well, David came to me and offered me the role, and I was honored to work with him because I admired his work in the past, and it was a really great part. It was well written, multi-dimensional, very colorful in some ways, and also a flawed kind of a hero. And as a matter of fact, the whole team, eventually, the whole SWAT team, becomes flawed, and this is what made it appealing. It was not one of those action movies where you have black and white, and then I walk in as the big hero and destroy evil and then move on. Here it was kind of like the black and white became kind of gray, and we as a team, we stepped over that line many times, and we started getting to be kind of like with a lot of problems internally and so on, and the whole team started falling apart. It had so many different layers in the writing that I really wanted to do this part and to play this character, and also, like I said, to work with David. And it was a really fantastic experience because he's a big believer in bringing the reality, bringing realism to the screen. And so therefore he believes in prepping and in reps, months and months before you go on a set and start shooting. He believes in the whole team working together and doing the shooting training, weapon training, and working with the LA SWAT team and studying it carefully and really getting into the character, understanding the character. So it was, for me, a great pleasure to do this part, and I had also a great time then when we actually shot the movie on a set with being surrounded by such a great team.
Yeah, and we're gonna get back to the team because it's basically an all-star cast. But you also got to chomp your cigar too, so that was also a bonus for getting to be in this, right?
Well, that's what the SWAT team does. I mean, in reality, when we went out there practicing, you see some of those guys after we were through with the practice and lighting up the stogies. So that's realistic. But I happen to smoke stogies too. Yes.
There you go. So now we move on to Joe Manganiello.
You got it right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very
hard
much.
G.
We practiced before we started filming.
We
it
did.
Was like a whole thing.
Yeah. But you got it right off the bat, so I have to hand it to you.
So he's Grinder in this film. You may also know him as a wolf in True Blood. He's also a Big Dick Richie. Sorry, I just had to say it. And Flash.
Please, it's one of the reasons you take a role like that. Yeah.
You didn't even read the script. You're like, oh, all right.
Yeah, Big Dick Richie. I'm in. Yeah.
And then also Flash Thompson.
In Spider-Man.
Yes, absolutely.
I was a baby.
So one of the things that I noticed while researching was that you are a big fan of like getting really into the character and kind of like learning what it's all about and doing a lot of studying up on it.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I love about acting and attracted me to acting at a young age was the fact that I get to be a historian, a psychologist, a philosopher. I get to learn and experience, about life. And 13 years ago, I screen tested for this I read this script that blew my mind, and it was Training Day, which David wrote and Antoine Fuqua directed. So I went through the whole process of that for the role that Dr. Dre got, that guy who sells headphones.
He's trying to start beef with Dr. Dre right now?
No,
That's a good idea.
I'm a big fan of Dr. Dre. If you're out there, if you're watching this, Dre.
Send him some headphones.
I haven't forgot about you, Dre. No, but ever since then, I just kind of clocked David's name, and I saw everything he did. Harsh Times, Street Kings. I mean, End of What? I was just into his stuff, and a few years back, I gave my agents a list of directors that I wanted to work with, and David was at the top because I knew that he worked the same way that I did, which is I want to immerse myself. I want to get into this. I want to learn. I want to do justice to the actual people who are doing this. And I knew that, what came of that was that David gave complete and total access to every, crevice in every dark corner of this lifestyle. And, I was threatened to not talk about a lot of the stuff that I saw as well. So I really can't go into it, but I saw some shit, and really grew an appreciation for the guys that really do it, and that became the motivation then to do the best job that I possibly could, to pay tribute to these guys who are out there, fighting this oftentimes a thankless job that then affects their personal life in ways. There's so many sacrifices that these guys make to do what they do and to keep us safe. We sit at home in complete ignorance and bliss, sitting there watching our cable TV, not understanding that a few miles away there's a war going on, and these brave people are fighting it. So, really for me, it was a chance to work with David and really get into it. But then it also, it transformed into paying tribute to these guys, and I really wanted to make them proud.
Well, that's awesome. Hopefully, you'll get a chance to meet more of them now after this film, right?
Well,
and then hopefully they'll tell you what you did right. Oh no!
It's not some of the guys that I met, let's say, who are on the other side. Let's just say that.
You don't meet them or Dr. Dre. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So now we move on to Josh Holloway, who plays he plays Neck, of course. Yeah. You may know him. You may know Josh from Ghost Protocol, Lost, and Not Being Aquaman. Is that correct?
Not being Aquaman?
You were not Aquaman?
I guess I wasn't. That's when I don't know that story. But
you don't know that story?
No.
That you're rumored to be Aquaman in the Justice League movie?
I did not know
You
that.
didn't even know that you're not.
Fantastic.
Congratulations, you got the part.
Swimmer.
Well done.
Are you talking to fishes?
I talk to fish every day. I have my own Triton.
Anyway. So how did you find out about this? How did you get involved in Sabotage?
Well, funny enough, I've loved David's work forever, and for that reason, the real authenticity of it, and the fact that it was old school action, not all CGI, not wire work, none of that. It was real stunts. You had to really train. So first of all, I just tried to avoid any work at that time because, strangely enough, I'd just drawn my first elk tag, and I was going hunting. So I was not even going to take any meetings, and my agent said, "It's David here and Arnold." So I was like, "Oh, no elk hunting, no elk hunting." So I go and I met David, and luckily he let me work on this film, and it was such a pleasure. But it was amazing to work with such a cast, and we're all alpha men, and we have our anchor Arnold, who I've grown up watching everything he's ever done. I have 3 brothers, and that's he's been our hero since childhood, and so it was a no-brainer. I couldn't wait to get on this project.
Do you think you were the person that geeked out the most when they met Arnold, of all the people on the
Probably
set?
geeked out pretty. I tried to keep it together because we're at a gun range, and that's how we met. We go to the gun range, and I'm walking, blowing off shotguns with, to me at the time, the Terminator. I was like, oh my God! So I tried to be cool, and Arnold's just super cool and classy and easygoing. So it just took us right in, and that's what I was so impressed about. There was really no wall. Arnold doesn't put up a wall that your other castmates can't talk to him or anything. No, it's not like that. He's one of the team. He was present on set.
He told me I couldn't make eye contact with him. I had to look at the ground.
Okay. That's because you have crazy eye.
Exactly.
It
was just you.
It's just me. Yeah.
So it was fantastic.
All right, so why don't you go ahead and tell us about some of the other people that couldn't make it here but are in the film that you know, like Terrence.
Yeah, I mean, we got a fantastic cast. We got Sam Worthington in this, Murray Enos, who plays Lizzie, absolutely insane character, and Murray does a fantastic job of that. Terrence Howard is in the film, also one of the team guys, and provided interesting spice to the world. And yeah, Sam Worthington really transformed himself. I've had people say that they didn't realize that he was in the movie until they saw the credits, you know, so it's a real testament to what he's did. Max Martini, great guy. He was on the unit for a while, did Pacific Rim recently. Knows his stuff, really tactically oriented guy, kind of very competitive. And I mean, it was a great team. All these guys are insanely competitive, and so to wind them up, bounce them against each other, and then have the boss here is kind of, yeah, the anchor of everybody, but who was also leading in the front in all this training. You know, it really worked out, and you see the chemistry on the screen. You see it in the movie. You see it on the film.
Cool. I want to know about the laundry list of the things that you put them through. But real quick, we're gonna so you guys know what we're talking about, how gritty and real and intense this is. We're gonna show you guys a clip. We haven't actually shown this trailer before. This is the first one. I think this is one of the like R-rated ones that's like really intense. Yeah, Red Band. So here we go. Buckle up.
Hey, Dad. Can I borrow the keys to the truck?
No.
Okay, I won't tell Mom about you smoking cigars. Yes!
Get your weapons. Let's go. Move.
What's the plan, boss?
Single point dynamic entry. We clear the whole structure.
Well, copy.
Here we go. Let's move. Cover your sides.
Move it! Breach!
Get in there.
Come on,
Target down.
let's go!
Breaching shotgun.
Pop it!
The arrest today of a major cartel leader has led to a seizure of millions of dollars in cartel money.
What happened here?
Cartel's got your wife and kid. I'm sorry.
Tell John to come for you.
Mira, ¿te gusta? I'm gonna destroy them.
The real Gaza cartel are the best assassins money can buy. And John's family is everything. And he's the heart and soul of us.
Streets have rules. Doesn't matter who you are, you can be a cop. You could be God. They will get you.
We're here to bring him back home, boss. We're here as a team. Don't ever forget that.
What am I fighting for? My family, my team.
All right, so there you go. Very, very intense, very real, just like you said. So again, like I said, the laundry list. I want to know what these guys had to go through, because it looked like they had to learn quite a bit for this role. This is not just a walk in and start filming.
It's really not. I mean, I wanted these guys to look like a team, and part of that is team building exercises, put them through a lot of martial arts, sparring, fighting each other. The boss mixed it up. He got fighting, became a real headhunter. Got his kick pretty tuned up. Became actually more dangerous than normal, which is really scary if you imagine that. intense amount of SWAT work and SWAT training and room clearing and team training and weapons manipulations and live firing with weapons and you know, transitions and things like that, how to go from your primary weapon system to your secondary, which is your pistol, clearing malfunctions.
Are these all with live rounds, or were these mostly?
Sometimes there's live fire training, but a lot of it was with their practical weapons they use in the film, but sometimes with blanks, sometimes not, depending on sort of safety and all that stuff. You got to be safe. You know, can't shoot anybody for real, you know, rules, insurance. But the biggest thing was to train them how to work together as a team, feel like a team, and a lot of that chemistry and sort of that ability to move and flow you directly see on the screen.
Yeah, Joe, I mean, you were talking about how, like, working and actually trying something out like this makes you feel, like, puts you in that place. You feel like you guys became a team, a little bit more of a family than you would on a normal set?
Yeah, definitely, and I think that, you know, we definitely benefited from that. We trained for 2 months solid every day, all day, before we got to shooting, and then once we were shooting, you know, we still continued. I mean, on days off, we were putting on headgear and fighting each other, you know, on days off. So it continued through, and I think especially with the nature of this script, you know, the script has a really fascinating arc in terms of an action movie. It's not just an action movie; it's a great story, and it does arc. It goes somewhere. And so, you know, when you see the technical scenes, you see the raids, the building sweeps. You see us work as a team. We trust each other. There's an unspoken trust there, which then juxtaposes fantastically when we realize that it might be someone inside the team. The team starts to fracture. So all of a sudden it goes from this team to this very eclectic group of individuals that all really don't get along. So it was, you know, it really was just essential to the storytelling.
Now, one of the things that you'll notice in the trailers is that I mean, you don't pull any punches as far as like the violence and a little bit of the blood. Was there anything you had to like hold back, or is this like your full bore?
It's pretty full bore. Definitely have some exploding heads, and we had a big line item in the budget for blood. You know, it's a good date movie because your girl's going to be jumping up and grabbing your arm several times throughout the movie. But I think it makes a great experience to go see something like that with an audience. You know, and it's like it's a hard R movie. It celebrates it. You know, we see some skin. We got people smoking tobacco, God forbid. You know, we got heads exploding. So, and some F-bombs.
Yeah, look, you added a great date movie when you had all these guys in there. All right. I know ladies are going to go for, you know, this exact thing.
Yeah,
so
try to keep the wife off set, you know what I mean?
Not from mom, but.
So we have some fan questions for you guys. Now these are all over the map, but we're going to go with a group one. First off, Ricky for the win wants to know, what is one thing you haven't done in your career that you would like to do? And this is for everybody.
Holy cow, that's a hard one. TV.
Oh, you want to do like a television show?
Badass cable show.
All right. Yeah, that would be really cool, actually. Do you think any of the movies that you made, you think they would translate to television?
I think they could, but I'd like to spin up something original because it's actually as a writer, it's kind of a great opportunity. It's a great medium. It's really a writer's medium, you know. And then to go in there as a director and then show run something, you can really push a lot of boundaries in TV, actually more so than in film these days.
What shows are you watching right now that you think kind of show you that television is in that?
A True Detective, Breaking Bad obviously is pretty iconic and shows you that you can really explore moral issues. You know, you don't have to be so black and white as you do in film.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that you haven't done in your career?
Well, I have to say that I'm very fortunate that all the things that I wanted to do, I always did. And you know, I just want to have more of all of that. I want to make more movies. I want to work with interesting and talented director like Joe, because I mean, like David, because you know that as an actor you rely very much on a directing and on a directors and his talents. And I know that all the movies that I've done that have been successful was with great directors, and so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to doing some of the sequels. You know, King Conan and Triplets and the Terminator sequel, and
of course, yeah.
and other movies like that. So I have to say that I was very fortunate to go, you know, from through the different worlds from bodybuilding, you know, the show business to politics and back to the show business. But as I said, only in America. This is the greatest country in the world, and it's really truly the land of opportunity. I could have gone anywhere else in the world. I would not have had the opportunities to do the things that I've done in this country.
I'm going to sneak in somebody's question, which is, when did you know that you made it in America?
As soon as I got an airline ticket to come to America.
I didn't say made it to America.
No, when Joe Weider, who was the publisher of the Muscle magazines, sent me an airline ticket after I won the second Mr. Universe contest at the age of 21, and I flew from London to America, and I knew I would never go back. Even though I just had a duffel bag, a little gym bag with me, but I knew I never would go back because this was my dream, my long-time dream was to come to America because it was known as the land of opportunity and as the #1 country in the world and the greatest country and the most generous country. But you know, then when I got here, I really felt that. You know, I really felt that this is really a place that welcomes people to come from all over the world. They embrace that. And you have great opportunities. You know, there was not the prejudice there. It was just fantastic. And you know, the way I was received by the gym members at Gold's Gym. I mean, I had absolutely nothing. $20, but they would give me silverware they would bring from home and plates so I could eat at this little apartment that I had, and a black and white TV set with this old antenna on top, you know, and so I could watch TV. I mean, this is a kind of generosity that I witnessed in the beginning. So I was always helped, and always there were opportunities there. And people always say, why are you so hungry to do all these different things? I said, because I'm in America. I mean, there's all these doors of opportunities opening up, and I just walk in there. You know, so this is unlike any other place in the world.
Absolutely, and that you're only scratching the surface of the stuff that you've done. I know you've got a tank for a good reason. You know, it's a little bit of a memory for you. We can touch on that in a second because I want to ask you about your internet presence right now because you're booming on YouTube right now. But Joe, what about you? What's something you haven't done yet? I know you're just as hungry to continue doing stuff as much as Arnold.
Yeah, well, this past year was a huge year for me because you know, I shot True Blood, shot Sabotage, you know, the action movie, which was funny to me to think that it's taken me to this age to be in a big action movie because I thought that would have been like kind of a no-brainer right off the bat, but I kind of had to do a lot of female-friendly projects for a little while before getting to it. But you know, here we are, and you know, I wrote a book that did really well that Arnold was kind enough to write the foreword to. That now Simon & Schuster wants a series, so I've got that to figure out. I also started a company with my brother, who's my producing partner, and I financed, directed, and produced with him my first feature that got distribution and a release date. It's going to be released June 27th. So that was a big step out, and now people are bringing us their scripts, their content, because we created this content. We created something out of nothing and did a great job with it. So so I have a whole slate of projects. I just optioned this amazing book, and I've written some stories that I've, you know, have writing teams working on, turning in drafts. So you know, so this year was a really, you know, branching out into that. I'm also you know, talking to Arnold's people. You know, I've started getting involved with the After School All-Stars program. I love kids. I love working with kids and trying to make a difference at that, you know, young level. So, you know, the philanthropy side is something that I definitely want to increase coming up. But, you know, as far as on a professional level, you know, the golden handcuffs come off with True Blood. You know, there was a lot of projects that I wasn't allowed to be a part of that I wanted to while I was on this, you know, great cable show that gave me this amazing opportunity, amazing career. You know, one of those shows David was talking about that really pushed the boundaries, you know, culturally. And now I get to go out there and find a franchise, you know, find those big iconic roles that I dreamed about having when I watched Arnold movies as a kid. So, you know, it's freedom, baby, you know. I'm excited to get out there and see what comes my way.
Hell yeah, I'm excited too. You got so much shit going on. All right.
I can't wait to borrow money from Joe. I mean, he's doing everything. What do you need?
Start a charity for you?
Get a nice adjustable interest level for you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. For me, I want to do a comedy.
Oh yeah?
I want to do a comedy and a Western.
Who would you like to be in with a comedy with?
Well, is Twins doing a sequel? Come on, baby.
Triplets, yeah.
I loved Twins. It was fantastic. But
Tell us a joke.
I have a lot of jokes, but they're all dirty.
He does have a lot of jokes,
We'll,
actually, yeah.
we'll skip over that, but I would love to do that. And a Western is something I've always been interested in. And that's something I'm doing as well. I've contacted Beau L'Amour, who's Louis L'Amour's son, and we're trying to work something out, and he's very open, and we're optimistic that we're going to get some things done with his father's body of work. Louis L'Amour is one of the most iconic writers of the American Western, and so that's what I'm doing more on the producer side and getting that going. So,
Have you practiced your look with your hat down?
of course, every night.
Every
you
night.
know, that's how I
Then
go
brushing
to bed.
your teeth.
I put my hat on, I get into bed, and I go, scoot over, woman. Yeah, no.
Now, I already asked you earlier about Aquaman, but I want to know, and you just ignored the fact that you had answered the question before. There's proof, but I want to know about the rest of you. Would you guys be interested in ever being a superhero? I know that you tried out for Spider-Man, but is there still room? Would you guys still like to play a superhero? Arnold, you want to be a superhero?
I have been a superhero many times in movies, and
enough.
I will continue playing superheroes. Yeah, I think it's fun. It's really, I think when you're an actor, what makes it fun is that you take different roles, and to take a movie like this that is based on real life stuff, and that you try to be as authentic as possible. Is really a great joy, because you have a whole different process of preparation for something like that, and challenges. And then when you have a director that really pushes you and grinds you, I mean, you have to imagine that this guy came to me and he says, I loved your movies. I think it's all great what you've done and all this, but this movie, I don't want to see any of it.
Good start.
And you have done. He says, I want you to be this the leader of this team, and I don't want the audience to see Arnold. I don't want them to see Schwarzenegger or anything like that in there at all. I want them to totally buy in that you are this team leader of the SWAT team, and that's the end of that. So it was like one of those real challenges, which I said to myself, wait a minute, if he likes my movies and he wants me to do the movie because he likes my movies, but then don't do anything that is in the movie that I've ever said, how does that pencil out? But I got it eventually, because we worked and worked and worked, and he pushed me, because he really wanted, I think that David was such a big admirer of me that he wanted me to show a different side that no one has ever seen. And I thought that was really great, that I was challenged like that, even though it threw me off on the beginning. But that was okay, because I'm all for reps and for work, and to put the hours and the weeks and the months behind it, and that's what I did. But to then go from a movie like that and to go, to do the sequel of Terminator, and to play Terminator and to be again, this machine and this kind of a heroic character of protecting a machine and all of this stuff is great. Or then to go to a comedy like Triplets, that's what makes it interesting. So I think it's fun to play different types of movies. And so whenever they talk about they want to do westerns or comedy or this or that, or David saying he wants to do a TV series or something, you always try to reach out to do something different, because it's a new challenge. And I think there's certain people that feel more comfortable to be in a comfort zone. I never was comfortable in the comfort zone. I always liked the idea of not having a safety net and always taking on new challenges where you don't know what the outcome is, to take the risks. And I think that's what it's all about. It's the philosophy of staying hungry. Stay hungry for new things, stay hungry for learning, for educating yourself, getting more talent, and learn and learn and learn, and that's where the action is, I think. And like I said earlier, America is the place where you can do all this stuff, so you might as well just go for it.
Fantastic. I'm sorry to continue the question, but would you ever want to be a superhero again?
Well, I wasn't a superhero in Spider-Man.
Right.
I was just
you were just.
I was the guy without the superpower, so it kind of sucked. I get beat up by Spider-Man once he gets his superpower, so I was kind of like fodder, So yeah, well, I've there have been some projects that I wasn't allowed to participate in because of my contract with True Blood. You know, it is exciting now to think about that. But I don't want to do a superhero movie for the sake of doing a superhero movie.
Right.
I want to do a superhero movie that says something. I mean, my least favorite movies of all time are the superhero movies that treat themselves like comic book movies. And the ones that work are the ones that try to find the human component. Yeah. You know, whether that's, you know, the werewolves and the vampires on True Blood, and you're saying something about society. You know, Spider-Man is this metaphor for, you know, puberty, for a kid, you know, going through this transformation. And so, you know, there's a comic book property that came out in 1987 that I read. I actually shoplifted it from the comic book store and went back 14 years later. I went back 14 years later and paid the owner for it, you know, and returned all the other ones that I stole. But I kept that one and paid for it. And it's been sitting there, and it is the anti-superhero movie. So you know, the studios are kind of full of these super glossy superhero movies. I want to make the one that's the anti-superhero movie, the one that kind of cleanses the palate. And so I have that sitting on my desk in my office, and my lawyers are like trying to hunt down the rights right now. So I think that would be it's like the punk rock superhero. It turns the whole genre on its head. That's the one I want to do, but I want to do it right. So maybe it could be a cable series.
Could be.
Let's see it.
All right.
I read a script once that was awesome about a bunch of superheroes that had real personal problems, and it was hilarious. Like a bunch of, what was that movie Will Smith? Hitchcock. Or Hancock. There was a bunch of Hancocks. They were all drunks. They were in therapy. They had all these problems that they would solve all this stuff, but then they were just total losers. It was great. I'd love to do that.
So, you know, another fan question. Do you guys watch your own movies? I mean, I know as a writer, you definitely watch your own movies. I mean, you have to, and you're in the edit bay too, right? So
yeah, I mean,
do you watch them after they're done? Like, do you continue to go back to them or not?
I try not to. I mean, it's a strange thing. It's you make a movie, and as a director, and especially when you write it, it's just totality. It absorbs your life. It absorbs every fiber of your being, and it's like a birth process, you know, but it's always tough to look at the kid, you know. Editing's brutal because imagine watching a movie 1 minute at a time all day, and then the next day you move to the next minute, and the next day the next minute. So it's very tedious, but it's a lot like writing. But as far as going back and revisiting, I mean, I'm a bit of a shark. I just move forward, you know. Yesterday doesn't exist, and tomorrow is going to be amazing, and I'm going to make the best day out of today I can.
Awesome. Arnold, do you watch your own movies still?
I have no choice. I mean, if you are all passionate about your project, you know, you want to watch it, that it comes out right, and you know, that I'm very happy that people like David Ayer and the producer and the studio and everyone lets me participate and want me to watch the movie and make my suggestions. What should they improve? What should they change and stuff like that? Not that everything I say would be done, but they want to hear my opinion, so I watch it, and then I watch the next stage of editing and the next stage of editing. So I've watched this movie at least 8 times. And I tell you something, that to me, that's actually a whole other test, because if it holds up, I just showed it recently to my kids. And we were sitting there, and
very violent.
And yeah, I mean, you know, the girls closed their eyes every so often, and or held onto my arm, like I was saying earlier. It's a great date movie because they hold on the arms. But it was really, they you know, all enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it more the 8th time than the first time. First of all, because it has improved each time, and the editing was fine-tuned and all that, and it was really amazing of the little subtle changes of how this made it into really an unbelievable movie to watch. And so the 8th time I really watched it. So yes, I'm interested in watching, studying exactly my performance and see where I can do better the next time. I'm very critical. You know, sometimes it's painful to watch yourself and you feel like, oh, I got to tell them they should re-edit this scene, and I don't like the way I look on this. But I was very critical always. I mean, the day of the Mr. Olympia competition, when I won in the evening, that morning I looked in the mirror and I said, Arnold, you look like shit. You know, so I was always that critical because I think that's what made me always hungry to improve and to train hard and work 5 hours a day. So it's a common thing, a common thread that goes through everything that I do in government, in show business, in bodybuilding, and everything. I'm always very critical, and so I always analyze, you know. And so I enjoy watching the movie. And then, of course, when you have kids. And then your movie comes on television, and they say, "Daddy, come over here. Your movie's on, Twins is on." It says, "Let's watch it together." So you sit there again and you watch the movie, right? And then I haven't seen it for a few years, so I enjoy it again. So yeah, I don't mind watching my own movies, and but I also like to watch movies in general. But I think it's good to watch your own movies and to get into it and to analyze it, and sometimes not to see it. Like Pumping Iron, I haven't seen like for 10 years, and then after 10 years they wanted me to come out with an anniversary kind of a thing with some extra interviews in it. So I looked at the whole thing again 2-3 times and then analyzed it with the new kind of way of thinking now 10 years later.
Gotcha.
And all that. So yes, I enjoy it.
Awesome. What about you two? Do you watch your own stuff?
Yeah, I agree with what Arnold was saying. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's a part of it where, yeah, you want to watch, you want to see what take they use, you want to see that thing that you tried, how that came out, you know, and then from there, I mean, you know, I mean, as a producer, as a director, you know, and someone that has always been interested in that, and I've always made films since high school. So, you know, I'm always wondering about storytelling and about how you edit that, or you juxtapose this image with that and then create this story. And you know, I'm curious to see, you know, the script filters through director and actor and then winds up in editing and how that story is told. So I'm always curious about that to learn and see how maybe somebody put that. And also too, I was like, you know, that one time when David was like, "You guys go improv," and that meant to Sam Worthington, "I'm gonna launch myself off this desk like WWE style at Joe," and I grabbed Sam in midair and body slam him onto this desk, knocking everything everywhere. I want to see if that's in the movie, which it was. Or the time I pulled a machete on that extra when David sent him over to like grab me and start putting his hands on me, and I pulled a machete on him and stuck it in the stripper stage. Which didn't make it in, I think, for safety, legal reasons or something.
No, I mean, once it's in the can, it's in the can, right? You know, we did have insurance, but I think after that I was like, Joe, keep the machete in the holster.
That's a real one.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I'm curious.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know with
Same,
actors.
I never miss a chance to criticize myself. So I watch my stuff, and I'm very hard on myself for that. What we do, it's a study of human behavior, and I want to see if I'm being true or if I'm lying. And you know, I love trying to make anything better. I think conscious repetition makes us better at anything. It's the human, it's the human condition. Conscious repetition. You get better, and then you got to let that go and live and see it work. And I love that. So I watch it for that. I don't understand how you couldn't watch your performance in whatever you're doing and make it better. So that's.
Awesome. We're all out of time, but thank you, gentlemen, very much. Go see Sabotage. Do like Arnold. See it 8 times, and then take a date because it's a great date movie. I want to thank all of you guys. I want to thank David, Arnold, Joe, Josh. Thank you guys for coming out. Thanks for working so hard on the movie, making it so gritty and real. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kill Anonymous. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you.
And cut. Awesome.
Nice.
Go, go.
Did it again.
Yeah, thank you.
Today's raid on the cartel led to a seizure of hundreds of millions of dollars.
2 murders of DEA agents happened on my watch.
Oh my God. $10 million is missing from your bust. Did you steal it? No.
The cartel thinks you stole my money. Cartel's got your wife and kid.
I'm gonna destroy them.
Sabotage. Rated R. Experience the Sabotage rating trend.
This must have been like a conversation.
Well, you know, when I wrote the book,
Sabotage in the DEA. How to become one of their most elite agents.
Clean up aisle 3.
Without being one of the most dangerous.
This guy's a drug war god. Cover your sides.
George? John, cartel's got the black kid.
Tell John to come for you. I'm here to bring him back home.
Sabotage, rated R.
I need you to be straight with me, John.
So you be straight with me. Why do I have to find out through the grapevine? You think the deaths of the people?
They're linked. I'm sorry. My turn. Did you steal the money?
No.
Your